Hi guys, welcome to Pop Talk. I'm your host, Luke Frey. I cannot believe that it's July already. Summer is finally heating up in Connecticut, and so is the celebrity gossip. So as you all know, Roseanne has been canceled after the actress posted racist tweets targeting one of President Obama's former advisors. That is resulting in ABC pulling the plug on the production of the newly rebooted series. The talk host Sarah Gilbert said that she stood by ABC's choice. However, it took her a couple days to actually make a public statement. So I feel like she was kind of upset, as you would be. That's your paycheck, that's your job, and somebody screwed that up for you. However, she said she agreed with ABC's statement, and ABC has made it very clear that Roseanne will not make any sum of money for the reboot that they're making, minus one thing, Roseanne herself. It will be entitled The Connor, and there was rumors that Roseanne would make some sort of monetary value towards this reboot since she created the character, she created the show, but ABC was very clear that she will not be making any money for this spinoff. Will the spinoff do as well as Roseanne? I don't really think so. I feel like people are kind of over all of this drama from, Roseanne's tweets to ABC and everything. And if you're like me, a little bit of drama, I'm out. So I don't think The Connors is going to do as well as Roseanne did. Recently in a podcast, the star was crying and is quoted saying, "I'm not a racist, I'm just an idiot." Well, take that as you would. However, the star blamed her racist rant on a bad pill of Ambien. So we'll see about that. Wasn't this the problem, though, with Roseanne years ago? She was getting herself in trouble. She was making comments she shouldn't have been. Now she gets a second chance. She messes it up again. So I feel like this is it for you, Roseanne. This is the end of the road. All right, so enough with Roseanne. I feel like I'm always talking about relationships as well, but there's one that we literally cannot ignore, and that is Ariana Grande and Pete Davidson. Now, step one of their relationship. They're dating, everyone's shocked, it's a shock to everybody, and then I'm driving in the car back from New York of all places, and I hear on the radio, breaking news, Ariana Grande and Pete Davidson, I'm like, are broken up, are engaged. Where did this come from? This couple is so off the charts. I don't even know where to go with it. However, the couple just moved into a brand new $16 million apartment in Chelsea in New York, so I'm sure that's very nice to be a new couple, newlyweds almost. It's not clear when the couple will tie the knot. However, it seems like they're madly in love. So I'm gonna let this fairy tale run its course before I make a call on that one. The next time you find yourself hating on America, you might want to take this next story into consideration. John Oliver content has been censored all throughout China online. That's right, all John Oliver content from his HBO show has been censored by the Chinese government. Now, the HBO late night host compared the Chinese president to Winnie the Pooh and reminded viewers of China's previous violations with human rights. So yes, everyone, if you didn't know, China has the power to censor whatever it wants. And now with the recent US discussions on net neutrality, that opens up a whole can of worms on its own. However, we still have the freedom of speech to post and say virtually whatever we'd like. So always keep that into consideration. I thought I would just throw that in there for you. Is there a feud between Oprah and President Obama? Well, there very well could be. They are both working for major competitors now. Netflix announcing that President Obama and wife Michelle have signed a multi-million-dollar deal to create content. Is that a television show? Is that a reality show? Are they going to be starring in the productions? We have no clue. However, on the flip side, Apple just announced a huge deal with Oprah Winfrey. Apple is trying to compete with major media competitors like Netflix and Amazon, and they're trying to create original content. However, what either party will actually be doing is still not really 100% clear, but I'm sure these companies are not going to be paying millions of dollars for nothing. So keep your eye out for content from Oprah and Obama on both Netflix and Apple. The Tony Awards were in June, and by surprise, The Band's Visit took home the awards for, let me check them off, Lead Actress, Best Musical, Lead Actor, Best Original Score, and it beat out popular nominees like the SpongeBob SquarePants musical, which is pretty tough to beat, and Mean Girls, written by Tina Fey. So I think everybody was pretty surprised by that. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child took the award home for Best Play. No surprise there. Andrew Garfield won the award for Best Actor in a Play. No surprise there. And Robert De Niro dropped the F-bomb on Trump during his speech. Kind of surprised. However, the Tony Awards wouldn't be a show without a show. That's what I always say. And if you've turned on HGTV at all in the past, I don't know, 5 years, you know that this couple, Chip and Joanna Gaines, welcomed their 5th child. The couple welcomed their son, and they will be joining siblings Emmy, Duke, Ella, and Drake. They're excited to have a brand new baby brother. And by the way, their child's name is Crew Gaines. They posted a few teasers saying we've added one to our crew, and it ends up the child's name is Crew Gaines. I've never heard of that as a name, but I've heard a lot worse. So enough entertainment news. I have you guys all caught up now. I feel like I need a drink. I'm gonna take one. So a couple community announcements since we're on West Hartford Community Television. I'm really excited, and if you guys have been watching, you know we're in the midst of our summer yoga series, which I've been having so much fun with. And today we're going to be talking about a completely different approach to how yoga is used. Now we're going to get to that in a couple minutes. However, there's this huge event right here in Hartford on Saturday, July 21st at 8 a.m. and it's called Alm Street. It's a free 75-minute yoga class held right here on LaSalle Street, right in West Hartford. I'm going to be there. We're going to bring you an inside look at the event itself, the day of. And if you've been watching and you're like, I think yoga is something I'm kind of interested in, I kind of want to try it, please come out to the event. It's going to be a great time. Last year it was estimated there were over 2,000 people there, and this year there are supposed to be even more. So chances are if you're watching this, you probably went last year or you know someone who did. You can check out all of the event details. West Hartford Yoga has posted an official event on Facebook where you can find all of that cool information. The rain date, since it is outside, is July 28th. So if it ends up raining on July 21st, it is on the 28th. Okay, so much talking, but on the show today, Julie Miller is here from Kula Yoga Therapy. She's going to be telling us all about a completely different approach to yoga. And also coming up next, Dr. Dori Gatter is back, and she's here to discuss a somewhat heavy topic in entertainment news. So we'll be right back with more Pop Talk right after this. Loving Pop Talk with Luke Frey? You should connect with us on social media. Why not? Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Pop Talk LF for all the latest entertainment news, local hotspots, behind-the-scenes photos, and much more. Also, see what part of Connecticut I decide to explore next, or see a sneak peek of what's coming up on our next episode. Want to hear my opinion on a certain news topic? Well, tweet at us with hashtag PopTalkLF, and we'll feature it right here on the show. Hi guys, welcome back to Pop Talk. Now we're going to touch on a little bit more of a heavy topic. As you have probably known in entertainment news, the last week or so has been a hard one. We have lost 2 celebrities to suicide, Kate Spade and TV host Anthony Bourdain. This has sparked a nationwide family conversation about depression, suicide, and all of those things we really don't like talking about. So I invited back to the Pop Talk Lounge Dr. Dori Gatter to talk us through this heavy subject. Dr. Yes. Dori, thank you so much for coming back to the Pop Talk Lounge.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I wish it was on a better term. However, you're kind of my go-to for topics like this. And we were just chatting how shocked I was in the news that came out following Kate Spade. It was kind of, her family was not shocked. So that sort of opened up a lot of questions to me as far as having somebody get help.
Right.
So how do you make someone get help, or can you?
You can't make somebody get help. I think, you know, people don't know what to do when somebody is really depressed, and it's a really helpless feeling. I think what's happening right now is that people are talking more about it. It's becoming more normalized, which is great.
Yeah.
We need to really be out there talking about it more. And I think what happens is that when people are really just in distress and in despair, they don't really talk about it. Maybe their family sense it, but they don't really talk about it because they feel like it's not acceptable to talk about. And now people are talking about it. So we need to just keep making that room.
And we talked about that with anxiety too the last time.
True.
It was something people don't really want to open up and talk about. And I mean, this has hurt Kate Spade, Anthony Bourdain, a girl, a boy. It's not only one gender, it's not only one, age group of people. So do you think anxiety kind of, meshes in with depression?
It does.
A little bit?
It absolutely does. It all stems from some form of trauma. Everybody has some form of trauma in their life. We're humans. We don't ever get to have zero trauma in our lives.
Yeah.
And it depends really how that affects you, what you do with it, what kind of help you get, what kind of support you get. And if you live it in some form of shame and you hold it all inside of your system, then it just builds. And so we're really seeing this outcry of, in society today, which is great. I mean, it's sad that all of this is happening, and the blessing in all of it is that it's becoming really more talked about in every household, which needs to happen. So we're coming out of the darkness and the shame about it, having more conversations so people can get help and have that be a normal thing to do.
No, yeah, and that's great. And actually, $1 Million Listing star Luis Ortiz opened up about having suicidal thoughts. He posted a lengthy Instagram about his struggle. Do you think social media plays a role in depression that we're seeing now, that pressure to have that perfect life or that perfect body or that perfect image?
Yeah, it does. There's a lot of pressure to be happy, whatever that means.
Yes.
And there's not a lot of acceptance for having a down day or having some anxiety or depression or even having suicidal thoughts, which we all at some point in our lives think, geez, what's my purpose? What's the meaning? Why am I here? And for that to be a normal piece of conversation and not feel pressured to be happy is really, really what we need to be going for.
We were kind of talking about this with mental illness as well. You were talking about, getting help. You can't really make someone get help. But what are the warning signs, or what are some things that you can see?
Some warning signs are a lot of isolation. People who isolate themselves and don't really reach out, don't socialize, are really starting to stay home by themselves more. That's definitely a warning sign. I think that's probably one of the biggest ones, that people who have high anxiety or a lot of depression start to really isolate themselves.
Okay. Are there ever not warning signs? Is it ever like caught off guard? You have no clue somebody is so depressed and unhappy?
Absolutely. If you have a really good, what we call a role layer, like you can present happy, if you're really good at that, and we all have some way of that we do manage that socially, then sometimes it's hard to know that somebody's really struggling.
Are there any other, tips or pointers, or is there just something like mentally that you can sit and kind of do to get yourself out of that, dark zone? Or
the biggest thing is that when we're in that kind of a dark place, we don't feel a connection to anything. And feeling a connection to something, whether it's an animal or a person or a tree or getting out in nature or spiritually, to have some connection to something is what we need when we're in those dark places, because when we're there we feel so alone.
Yeah.
So really finding some way to connect outside of yourself.
Thank you so much for coming on and talking about this with me, and I'm keeping you around today. We're going to brighten things up a little bit, and we're going to be joining Julie Miller from Kula Yoga Therapy and doing some yoga poses. So I hope you're excited for that.
I am.
And we'll be right back with more Pop Talk right after this.
Thanks.
Hey guys, welcome back. We're in our second installment of our summer yoga series. I have Dr. Dori Gatter here as my co-host for this segment. She's brave enough to come on as my yogi partner. We are here to talk about yoga in a brand new way I've never even heard about, and that is using yoga as therapy. We're welcoming Julie Miller here from Kula Yoga Therapy, who's going to tell us all about it. Thank you so much, Julie, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the Pop Talk Lounge. Are you having a good time?
I am.
Awesome. So everybody has a yoga story, and I told you I was going to ask you yours. So what is your yoga journey?
I started as someone who was running and weightlifting a lot and was introduced to yoga, and then that changed my life. The first day, I was lucky enough to get in with a really great teacher, and it changed my life. And through my own wonderful things in life and trials also, yoga has been the steady place. Yoga, meditation, breathing exercises have been the place that I go to when it seems like there's nothing else there.
So when did you realize that yoga can not only be recreational and it can actually be used as a form of therapy as well?
I had a period of, I always sort of, it was an evolving process. As everything is. So from day one, like I said, I was very lucky to be with a teacher who wasn't just teaching it as exercise, but really with the whole philosophy behind it. And then I had a year and a half where I was quite ill, actually. And yoga poses, restorative poses, like lying in bed kind of poses and meditation truly got me through.
Wow, that's amazing.
And that's when my journey changed, from being a yoga teacher to also a yoga therapist.
And what types of categories of patients do you see? Like what types of, medical conditions or, issues people have do you kind of treat through yoga therapy?
So I work with clients, so, I'm not a doctor, don't claim to be one, not on TV or elsewhere. Physical, certainly anything joint related, muscle related, all of that. Emotional issues, as Dr. Gatter was talking about earlier with depression and anxiety, all those things, as well as chronic illness, which I myself deal with and work with and have worked through. I'm not on the other side of it, it's chronic, but it is something that I have found ways, I have tools, I have a whole toolbox. And then there are people who also would like, as opposed to classes, also just individual yoga sessions. So when I do yoga therapy as individual sessions, that's what I work with.
Nice. It sounds very advanced, so I'm getting kind of nervous. So what types of poses are you going to be having us do today? What, targeted areas are we going to be touching upon?
In hearing the previous conversation with Dr. Gatter, I think working on poses that help with connecting with oneself, and also when we recognize that we are in a place of being down or even depressed, or especially when we're depressed, there are poses that can help boost the energy. So every pose has a different energy to it. And so working with those poses, that when we recognize we're in this place, even if we're not able to speak about it, if we recognize it within ourselves, to do poses that are more empowering and energizing to ourselves, for ourselves.
All right, awesome. Are you ready to be energized?
Totally.
I'm ready. Okay, so let's get started.
Great. Okay, so just for a moment, close your eyes, and if you put your index finger and your thumb together, it's called Jnana Mudra, and place them either palms face down or palms face up. One is more energizing, one is more calming. And it's connecting your individual self with the greater universe. When you do that,
Up is energizing, down is
up is
calming.
energizing, down is calming. So if you check in with what your own body needs.
Very good question.
It is a good question. And when we feel in this place of depression, we feel alone. So when we can make this even simple gesture with our own hands, it helps us feel like we are connected to a greater power, nature, each other. And allow your breath just to settle. Another breath or two. Good. And then gently open your eyes, release your hands, and come up standing. Please. So you can remove the blankets from your mat. They'll get in the way at this moment. So when we sit on the blankets, it helps the hips release and it just helps us settle in. So stand with your feet lined up so they're parallel. So you see how Dori's are parallel, yeah. So Dori's been a yoga student who has been coming for a long time. So just line your feet up and feel your feet on the ground. When we feel disconnected, we want to feel settled. We want to feel the ground. We want to feel connection. So feel that. And then as you inhale, and you're going to have to bring your arms up since you're so close to one another. Inhale up. And then exhale, come into a forward bend. And if you can't reach the floor, then you can. Good. And then just pause and breathe. Inhale, come up part way, halfway. So just lengthen your heart forward. And then exhale and bow again. Good. And place your hands towards the front of your mat and your feet in the back of your mat, coming into downward facing dog. So your feet will be as wide apart as they were before. So you want them about hip width apart. Good, 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 good. And lift your hips up way up towards the sky. And bend your knees slightly. And lift your hips up higher. Yes, like that. So this back, your back in the low curve there, you want it to go in. So see if you can draw that in. Perfect. And breathe. Keeping that, lower your heels towards the floor a little bit more. And keep breathing. Inhale forward, come to plank pose. So it's actually like you look at the top of a push-up. Spread your fingers wide and root the fingers down. Yes. Take a big breath in, and with your exhale, come forward and down, coming into chaturanga. So it's like the push-up. Yep. And then pause, and then exhale down. Inhale up to cobra. So you're going to place your hands and shoulders back. So you want to keep your elbows slightly bent.
I feel more energized.
So these back bend poses are very energizing, and these will help to open the heart, expand the heart, and create more empowerment. As you exhale, lower down, tuck your toes under. With your next inhale, lift back up into downward facing dog. So come back into the pose you were in before, coming forward and down. Yeah. Okay. Bend the knees again slightly. Create the curve in the low back. Just like that. Really good body awareness. And just spread your fingers. Nice. Good. And keep breathing. Step your right foot forward. Come into a lunge with your next inhale. So you're going to bring it all the way forward between your hands. It might take a few times to get there, so keep going. You want your knee in a square. Yeah, you have to put your left knee down in order to get there, and then lift your back knee back up again. Yes, like that. And breathe. And just feel the expansion in the pelvis, the pelvic floor, the legs spreading apart from one another. And just feel that. Soften between your shoulder blades. Come up onto your fingertips if you can. If it doesn't hurt your fingers, so we're not looking for pain, and draw this knee back a little bit. Yep, you want to stay in a square. Good. Keep your left hand on the floor. Take a big breath in and expand. And as you exhale, lift the right arm towards the sky. And you're going to twist open. Good, and keep breathing. So every breath matters. It brings us deeper into connection with ourselves. So keep your hand there. How's that feel? With your next inhale, place your hand down. Step back with that right leg. Pause in downward facing dog. Again, bend your knees. Take your feet a little wider. Yeah, good.
It's like you can't think about anything else but what you're doing.
I know.
Yes, so you're thinking about what you're doing, and then it also shifts the energy, the stuck energy in your body. With your next inhale, bring your left foot forward. So we're thinking about...
The legs again.
Huh?
I said the legs again.
Yeah, bring it more forward. So really what yoga is about is finding connection to yourself, because it keeps your body moving, and then it moves the energy, so then therefore just lift this leg up higher. Good. Draw your left hip back. Yes. And it shifts everything. It shifts the perspective. So even on those days where you feel like, I don't want to even unroll my yoga mat, sometimes just unrolling it and not even getting on it and being okay with that, that's good enough. Keep your right hand down, take a big breath in, and then as you exhale, lift your left arm up. So you want to twist with the exhale. Twisting is very neutralizing in the body. So if you're anxious, so bring your hand here, draw the shoulder back. There we go. So whether you're feeling anxious or down, twists neutralize. They balance the two hemispheres of the brain, and they help so much. So there are days where I feel like I don't want to get on my mat. Take a big breath in, lower your hand, step back, downward facing dog again. And I make a promise to myself, well, I'll get on for 5 minutes. And if it's just those 5 minutes, that's okay. And most often, those 5 minutes are not enough for me once I get on there. And just feel your breath as you root down through your hands and your feet. So even your heels, try and root them down back towards the earth. Good, and now lower your knees to the ground and pause. And then sit back on your heels for a moment. So as you can see, we have these props here, blankets and blocks, and they are used especially in yoga therapy, but in all of the classes that I teach, to allow for the body to lengthen the arms, to bring the floor up closer to you, to let your hips relax. So we can, so if you come onto your blanket,
So do you want to
and
use the blankets?
Yep,
Okay.
please sit on the blanket.
Okay. So like crisscross applesauce or like this?
So you can just sit on it behind you, yeah.
Is that not a
And
technical term?
That is a very technical
very
term.
technical term.
It's a perfect term. In fact, it couldn't be better.
Okay.
So the blocks we're not going to use because
Okay.
we would use them in different poses. So
Sure.
you can sit in crisscross applesauce. In fact,
Okay.
instead of that, put your soles of your feet together.
Okay.
Baddha Konasana. So Baddha means bound, angle pose, or cobbler's pose. So you see how high
Yeah.
your
very-
knees are.
Yeah.
So that's what. So in fact, you can actually put a block under, sit on the block as
Okay.
well.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I'm going to use a block.
Right, and
Okay.
something you said before, which is super important, is that everything that we're doing moving the body really helps stimulate the right and left hemisphere of the brain so that we can digest upset.
We can digest upset, create space for the positive energy to come in.
Right.
So notice, the most important thing in all of this is notice when this mat is your sacred space. And it's about practice. It's called a yoga practice for a reason because we practice on this mat. It's not about the poses. It's not about doing it perfectly. It's not about where your knees are. It's about feeling your heart and creating space and finding connection.
All right, well, I feel like I've learned a lot. My energy is definitely up, so that's good. So we're going to keep doing yoga as we did the last time. But thank you, Julie, for being here today. I've learned so much. Thank you for being our second installment in our summer yoga series. Dr. Dori Gatter, thank you so much for being here as my co-host during my yoga segment. And make sure you check out the Alm Street event right here in West Hartford on July 21st. You can check out all of that information on social media. We're going to keep doing yoga, but I'll see you next time right here on Pop Talk.